Hello, good people. It's Rob Lee. Steve Schwarzman, the head of America's notorious corporation called Blackstone, said in October, he went on TV of October 2021 and said this, and I quote, "The energy crisis will set off social unrest and a new regime. Social unrest and a new regime in October of 2021. We'll come back to that. Accepting death is going to be an important key to your survival for what's coming in these last days, because if you will be fearless of death, you will be able to be better, you will be stronger, you will be able to do more, you will think more rationally. Your spirit, all right, your spirit will guide you. You have to be willing to accept death. I want you to imagine that you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and you get up to get something to drink, go to the bathroom, and you notice that the lights are out, your clock's off, and you give a sigh and say, the power's out. All right, you go back to bed. You wake up a few hours later, no more lights, still no power. Moreover, you realize you don't have a cell connection, and you start to wonder what's going on now and how long is it going to take before power comes back on. Now, we'll come back to that scenario and these scenarios in just a moment, because it is the theme of this teaching. The people are slowly waking up to the reality that something is wrong. Some are beginning to get scared, and some are in panic mode of what the future holds for them and their families. And through all this, we have monsters and vultures flying around looking for whom they can prey on during these dark times. The great hoax, the so-called boogeyman running around the past 2 years, has done its job well. To understand what's going on, you have to have some understanding of the massive push for clean energy, green energy. That's all we've heard about. You must understand how vital this is to the Great Reset. Do you really believe these people give a damn about the earth or the people, the animals? No. Do we believe the people that God condemned, the people that God said you are of the damn devil, that they want to preserve the earth, that they want to make the earth clean? Well, they're the people that have made the earth dirty. The number one question that people ask is, what is coming in the future? That's the question. Everybody searches the internet, media, whatever. You want to know what's coming, you see. Everybody wants everybody to have a crystal ball. And there's only one. You see, there's only one, and nobody goes to that. You see, everybody goes every other place. Then, like a midnight call to devil worship, dressed in black, the media whores, politicians, Alex Jones, internet junkies, liars, cons, shills, spies, and demons spin their web of deceit as they look into their 99-cent Chinese-made crystal balls, being the internet, and cell phones, and laptops, and TVs. They dress in black robes and make their way to their devices via the media or the internet. The robes come off and demonic talking heads appear with nothing but lies, anxiety, and fear from the serpent. Now, I'm going to show you a scenario today, and together we're going to see how we can prepare with all the ability that we have from our Father for the events in our future. So get comfortable, call your spouse and your children to watch with you, share the video. They can only gain by what we are going to share today. Now, before we go further, I want to say a special word of thanks to those who have reached out to me. I don't do the name thing. I don't name people by names. I just find it tacky. But I have received your emails, I have received your letters and cards, and I don't have a way to reply to some of you. I don't have a phone number where I can call you and say, hey, thank you, and I love you for it, thank you. So I'm telling you now, thank you, and I love you for it. You're the reason why we're moving on. All of you know who you are. You reached out, thank you. You're the reason why we keep on keeping on, and we will keep on keeping on until the final end. I'm honored to be your brother as we walk this final mile together, boldly, with no fear and no hesitation. We will be wise as serpents, folks. We will be harmless as doves when we can. Moreover, if we have to be a male lion and a female lion that tears something a new ass for trying to hurt us, then we will do so with God's blessing. Don't ever let anybody hurt you. Ever. And don't put yourself in a position to where you are defenseless. I know you know what I mean. Your first line of defense is God, but God does not want us to be idiots. However, we are not as the heathen or the animals who seek to harm, steal, and kill for no reason. Moreover, if death is our destiny for God Almighty, then may we meet it eye to eye with our heads and eyes above to our Father in Jesus Christ with no fear. A few years ago in the nation of Argentina, a truck carrying cows to the slaughterhouse was stopped by a mob in Buenos Aires. Now, these folks were so desperate for food, they slaughtered the cow right there on the street and cooked the cows over an open fire on the side of the road. These folks were hungry. They had no food. And when things get bad, the people will do anything for food and water. Listen to me. They will do anything, and I do mean anything. And this is coming to the United States of America and Western culture. You know, when Jesus Christ said you're going to see tribulation like the world has never seen, what do you think he meant? A lot of folks, they don't want to acknowledge it. Remember, a lot of folks say the Bible's wrong, it's been corrupted. You've been corrupted. You're corrupted and you're wrong, and I got no more time for some of you people that it's a small channel, but you come here with your lies and your bullshit about trying to compare me to other people, or I'm this or I'm that. Go back to whatever it is that you believe and do, and watch them again, and come back and tell me if they are doing what we do here. Go away with your nonsense, man. I ain't got no more time for it. The Census Bureau just reported that an estimated almost 4 million people may be evicted by November. Folks, that's mind-blowing. We already have tent cities all over this nation. It is reported that one in every 6 households cannot afford or are behind on their electric bills, with winter a couple months away. But it doesn't really matter if it's winter, spring, summer, it doesn't matter. Food banks are reporting a shortage of food all across the country. It has reported, and you guys know how I feel about what's on the internet and what's in the media, that most of it is smoke and mirrors and misdirection, but it is reported that the Pope, or those behind the Pope, because the Pope is nothing more than a politician just like Trump or Biden or anybody else. It is reported that the Vatican wants all of its assets from banks and vaults around the world returned to the Vatican. Now, either this is a plant to misdirect the people, or it's a sign of what's to come. Our brothers and sisters in Europe are having more troubles than we are, but fear not. We will catch up very, very soon. Outrageous and unaffordable energy bills are crippling families and leaving most to choose between food, power, medicine, and even a place to live. Before we discuss the scenario for the American nightmare, let me tell you in simple terms what they did and how this was planned. The enemy has known for decades it can tell the people anything. The lies do not have to even be creative any longer. After all, the masses believe the seed of the devil is actually God's chosen, while they are actually condemned of God. So think about the mindset and this spiritual set of these people in this nation and Western culture. You have a people that God condemned. They murdered Jesus. God says they're contrary to all people. They please not God. They are anti-me forever, and my wrath is against them forever. 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 14 through 16. So here's a people that God has condemned forever, said you're evil, you're pure evil, you ain't no good, and I'm against you forever. These are the people that call themselves God's chosen, and the masses actually follow them. That tells you, folks, enough to know where the mindset of the people is. Then you have the people who scream they're anti-Jew, but they're also anti-Jesus. Listen to me, boy. I'm trying to tell you people, I don't want you here. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like your punk asses. I don't like you Christian identity people. I don't like you MAGA people. I don't like you Hitler people. I don't like you. I see you as what you are. Straight up punk asses. I'll tell you now, and I would get in your grill and tell you and your whole family you're a bunch of atheistic punk asses. Because you can scream Jew don't mean shit to me. You are anti-Jesus just like the rest. Get out of my face with that nonsense. These people believe that 9/11 was planned and carried out by radical Muslim terrorists. Brain-dead jackals like Bush Jr. were rolled out in front of the cameras to fire up the people. United the people stood. We are American. We're going to get the enemy. Against the real culprits? No, not hardly. No, the culprits were going to be a bunch of men living in caves who were hijacking jets with box cutters and telling the National Air Defense of the United States to go to sleep. These same cave dwellers with their box cutters were also able to influence every media outlet in the world to get behind their narrative. Now, in the background of all this, we had the synagogue of Satan and their daddy of Revelation 9:11 laughing at how easy this was. Paid out-of-shape steroid blowhards such as Alex Jones were carrying a bullhorn and shouting, "The Muslims did it." It mattered not to the people that the real culprits behind this were those so-called God's chosen people, who are really nothing more than imposters. And they brought down the towers that day with direct energy weapons to pay tribute to their father, the king of the bottomless pit, as recorded in Revelation 9:11. And his name is Apollyon. That's the name of the devil. You can call him whatever name you want, but that's what the Bible says. The towers coming down that day were symbolic of the pillars being toppled, and the new world order was replacing the old world order. The NWO was replacing the OWO. Now, what was the OWO? The OWO was based on centuries of God being first, and the masses, or certainly the majority, being a Jesus-loving people. These were the Israelite nations, whether it be Europe, Scandinavia, the United States, Canada. These were the Israelite nations fulfilling prophecy. Now, for millennia, for centuries, these people would come to your nations and they would try to sneak in, they would try to take over their churches, they would try to take over commerce, they would try to hurt the people. Every time they did it, they would be removed. They were told no, sometimes with force, you have to leave. Why can't the people, why is it now that it can't be done? Because back then, the people, the men, the women, they were a Jesus-loving people. What do we have now? A Jesus-hating people. A Jesus-hating people. So going back to September the 11th, then we'll get to the 12th. Through the Patriot Act 1 and 2, American people lost more rights and freedoms, but continued to cheer and bow to their oppressors and saviors. By noontime on September the 12th, the very next day, the word bin Laden was said repeatedly so much until the masses accepted bin Laden as to be the blame for all the woes of September the 11th in history. You see, he had become the boogeyman, because there's nothing like a boogeyman. 20 years later, we have another boogeyman. This time, this boogeyman was invisible. This is not a game, folks. It's not a movie. This is real life. And these last days on this earth are here. And it's now to put everything you have in God. For this is exactly what your enemy has done. They have gone all in. Everything they have betted on their God, which is who I told you, the king of the bottomless pit. Corona was a 20-year later continuation of 9/11, of a tribute to their king of the bottomless pit, as this is what the word Corona means. It means crown. However, it also means and can mean sun, as in the sun god Apollyon, which I told you is the name of the devil in Revelation 9:11. Funny that through all of this, very few people would invoke the name that could shake the foundations of this world. The words corona, COVID, virus, and vaccine became the most popular words in the world's vocabulary. The most popular name during all of this should have been Jesus. And for some of us, it is then and it is now, and it will be to the very end. And for this, we will feel his great love, might, power, and mercy during all of it. Most will not. The culprit now is not going to be Muslims in caves with box cutters. It's been China, Russia, and anyone who does not accept the synagogue of Satan's version of reality. Through the media and the internet, the majority of masses will believe or accept some version of the lie, meaning that if you accept 100% of the lie or 20% of the lie, you still believe the lie. You see, you cannot take the lie and think that you can reconfigure the lie, that somehow you can take bits and pieces of it, and you can make the truth. If you believe the lie, you believe the lie, period. It's called the problem, reaction, solution paradigm. They gave you the problem, the boogeyman virus. They got a reaction. The people reacted. Oh no! They gave you a solution that had been waiting and in the makings for 20 years, because it was just a continuation of 9/11, more tribute to their who they call their father. Now, what did they do when this all began? They, on the one hand, ordered businesses to shut down and workers to stay at home. So they ordered a big reduction in supply. At the same time, they flooded the economy with cash to increase demand. So we have a reduction in supply, but we have more cash flooding the economy. So people have more money, but the goods are less and less and less. Well, common sense would tell you that's got disaster written all over it. So we're told that the Federal Reserve and bankers, these are the people that are smart. These are economists, and they know things. They know shit. They know nothing. If you don't know God, you know not a zero. We were existing before these monsters with just God, and we were doing just fine. They sent checks to people who were no longer working that were 2 or 3 times as large as the money they earned when they were working. They were paying the people off. They were telling the sheep to take these crumbs and stay inside and shut your mouths. The result is we had less supply, but we had tremendous demand because the people had money. And of course, what happened? Prices went straight up, and they've stayed there, and they continue to go up, up and up and up. And now, supply is becoming less and less and less, although much of the supply is hidden in warehouses all across the country, and much of it, burn up. This was the plan from the very jump. In a real crisis, if you were trying to protect the nation and the people, you would do just the opposite. Governments of God and of Jesus Christ would have cut spending during a crisis. You shrink the money supply as to reduce demand because you have very little supply. You see, they have to be equal. In addition, you never ever stop production. No matter what's going on, life has to go forward. However, as I said, this was planned, and it was done by the biggest liars in the history, and they used one of the grossest lies in history, and people believed it. If you shut down everything and tell people to stay at home, then you have to stop the spending. The central banks gave people money to buy stuff when nobody was making stuff. So here's some money, right? Here's some money. Go buy some goods. Oh, wait a minute. We've cut off all the goods. The result was destruction, and this was the goal. Now, I told you earlier the name of the devil in Revelation 9:11 is Apollyon. Do you know what that name means? Destroyer. That's what it does. It destroys. So what they did, they destroyed the majority of businesses, and they knew that most folks right now, as I said earlier, they're so irresponsible. They would ruin themselves in their sheer greed and stupidity. People were getting stimulus checks. They were receiving this. They were receiving that. People were getting unemployment plus stimulus checks. People were going out and buying Rolexes, cars, TVs. For a year and a half, people were paying twice as much for things because they were told, if you don't get it now, you're never going to be able to get it. It was nothing to see people where I live walking off of truck lots with $80,000 trucks that were originally in 2019 going for 40. People bought up Rolex watches because they were told if you don't get it now, you're never going to get it again. This is the mindset, people, of Americans. Now we are told that many cannot pay their power bills. Credit card debt is rampant. Jobs are being lost, and the media keeps telling the people it's okay, things are going to be just fine. If your house is burning down, surely you would want someone to tell you, hey, your house is burning down. Get out of your house. So let's get into our scenario, and I ask you to pay attention, share this video, send it to somebody that you care about. So it's 4 a.m. in the morning. Again, you get up, you get something to drink, you go to pee, and you look at the clock, you see power's out. That's okay though. We've all did that, right? We've all got up, power's out. You sigh, you go on back to bed, power's out. You get up a few hours later, still no power. Like most Americans, you reach for your cell phone, no cell connection. Now you start to wonder, so what's going on now? A stark and deep reality will set in as the morning and day progresses. The power is never coming back on. The American nightmare is beginning. America's entire energy system, I believe, is going to collapse. Fuel won't get delivered. Rolling blackouts will sweep the land. Chaos and panic will sweep the nation. All businesses will run out of supplies and shut down. The stores will be looted within 24 hours. Martial law is declared. There will be police and military roaming the streets. At least at first, but it won't last. We're seeing the Great Tribulation switch into overdrive. Jesus Christ said these times will come, but again, people don't believe in the Bible and they don't believe in Jesus Christ. And if you don't believe and you can't hear, you can feel. Forgive me while I get myself a drink of coffee. I'm a little bit parched this morning. Sorry about that. When diesel fuel was cut off, grocery stores don't get supplies. Our goods come to our stores via trucks, diesel, electricity, coal, oil, gas, and other resources. This has been the backbone of America. You see, this is what has made us. This is how we've lived. All your goods, man, come to you by container, ship, truck, rail. And ships and trucks run on what? Diesel. And when the diesel fuel stops coming, ships stop sailing, trucks stops rolling, and goods stop arriving. Food, medicine, building materials, and everything else is no more. You see, most folks don't realize that diesel fuel is the workhorse of the economy. It's used everywhere to keep trucks, tractors, ships, freight trains, and factories moving. This is how we roll. Recently, diesel inventories plunged to the lowest seasonal level in 30 years. Now, diesel prices nationwide last year hit record highs. So did gas. I mean, we were looking at $6, $7. Where I live, it was $5 and change. Now, gas and diesel has come down a little bit. However, folks, do you really believe it's going to stay there? No. After the selection show, I didn't say election, I said selection show of November, or maybe before, you will see it go back up. The war on fuel. And I'm going to explain to you why. Folks, this is why we have a new age war. I said new age as in new America. This is why you had Barack Obama, the whole 8 years he was in office, talking about a new time, a new America, a new beginning, because they want to do away, just like I told you, the old world order has to go away. They have to usher in a new world order, a new age, their age, where they are completely in control. To do that, you have to do what first? You got to tell the people, hey, God's a lie. Jesus Christ is a lie. Don't you dare go to them for help. You come to us. Just like when the devil told Jesus, if you'll bow to me, I'll give it all to you. And Jesus told him, get behind me, boy. Get behind me. This is why we have a non-stop media bombardment of solar energy and windmill power, green energy, clean energy. We got to go green. We got to save the earth. It's the devil's children trying to completely annihilate our nation and nations and start over with them completely in charge. In fact, they said so. I told you earlier that Steve Schwarzman said on TV in October of 2021, the energy crisis will set off social unrest and a new regime. Yes, he said it. I believe they wanted to implement this in 2021, but God, I believe said, no, not now. Now, the question then becomes, how much longer before God Almighty says, go ahead? Because that's how it really works. And if you don't know this, you don't understand God. You don't understand how it really works, man. Nobody on this earth, I don't care if you're the devil, fallen angels, I don't care if you're the Bilderberg, Jews, Masons, if you're the most richest son of a bitch walking, if God Almighty says, I'm not going to let you piss today, guess what? You ain't pissing today, man. That's the truth of it. Take it any way you like, but take it with you. An evil, hideous force that has no heart, morals, or compassion is trying to inflict the greatest pain on the masses ever in history. Just like Jesus Christ said, there will never be tribulation, he said, like this ever in the history of man. And the people are so unsuspecting, they know something's wrong, but they don't know who's behind it and even why. And the mass propaganda campaign is always there to get the people to look the other direction. They look at politicians, that they do the whole red, blue, left, right, but they never ever look. I wonder who's at the top of that pyramid. Who is that? What's that six-pointed star? They'll never see it. The beast behind this uses many names. Central banks, Federal Reserve, corporations, elites, Illuminati. The truth is, the boss of all bosses, Jesus Christ, calls them the synagogue of Satan. Period. They are telling you that they want to help you. They want to help you and your family to get through these tough times. It's the equivalent of the arsonist who burns down your house as you lay sleeping, showing up the next day and wanting praise for bringing you a bottled water. Sadly, but truthfully, many in our world will accept their water, a bottle of water, when they burnt down your house, They will accept that and refrain from the water that will quench their thirst, heal their houses, and bring them to safety. This video is not for everybody. My work is not for everybody. My video is for a few hundred people. And you know who these people are? These are the family and the children that are called by the boss of all bosses, Jesus Christ. Therefore, what's going to happen when all this goes down? In reality now, not meaningless innuendo, speculation, fear-mongering to garner clicks and views. Friends, one thing that I know for sure is this, and it is 100% fact. I live in a godless world, filled to the brim with violent wild animals that would have no problem killing, stealing, looting, or doing anything possible if they are without their goods they have been used to. We are filled to the top of the bowl with Jesus haters. I mean, we are filled up, man. Long gone are the days of standing together and watching each other's backs. The days when people stuck by one another. When you bonded together. For example, if we lived together in a community, if something happened, we would bond together. We would stand together and God would be the core of it, right? Those days are gone. You, our people, and me are a tiny group among a sea of demonic wild animals. And we will call on God together to sustain us during these worst of times. And God will do it. Because God said that He would. God don't ever break a promise. And then you have some who can never keep a promise. How long do you think people will refrain from stealing, killing, and mass violence when the lights go out? Just the lights. There's no lights. No power means no food, no gas, no electric, no internet, no money, no access. And the only way you can get anything is from thieves on the soon-to-be black market. Roving bands of thugs and crazy hungry people, where mobs will try to kill a family for their meager belongings. Well, this is just fantasy, right? I mean, this is just pretend. This is made up. This is only in Hollywood. Only in the minds of the naive and stupid people. The spiritually stunted. They can't grow. Now let me say this. This can just as easily happen in the summer, fall, spring, winter. It doesn't matter the season. Now some people say, and it may be true, in the wintertime it might be worse on certain people who live in cold regions. However, let me say something to you about this. My wife and I desire, and I have been moved by my God to go to where it's cold. Why? Why would I want to go where it's cold? Most folks will say, hey, I want to go to where it's warm so I can have the weather, so when, at least if we lose power, I feel compelled to go where it's cold because I feel they're going to continue to make it hotter in some places and cause more droughts. So I feel moved to go a little bit where it's colder. I don't desire to go where it's real hot. I've been to Florida, had some wonderful times in Georgia and Florida. Love it. I don't desire to go back. I just don't. I have my reasons. But how? Listen to me. You go where God leads you. Via Florida, Alaska, Texas, Kentucky, Mississippi, wherever God moves you to go. North Dakota, Montana, Washington State, Indiana, Connecticut, it doesn't matter. Oklahoma, love Oklahoma. Go where God takes you, but the most important thing is go with God. Because if you go with God, you can live on the front yard of the devil's house and tell him, I'm here, and there ain't shit you can do about it. But you got to go with God. Global warming is real, but it's not from our industries and pollution. Of course we have pollution. You know, they've been destroying the earth forever through pollution and through their contamination of the water and the air, and yet they tell us that they want to clean it up. Then stop killing it then. Nobody talks about that, right? Global warming is the deliberate heating up of the earth by using chemicals and energy to make it hotter. It's also the name of the devil and his hidden agenda in plain sight. The naive masses will use the word global. It's nonstop. That's all you hear. And it makes me sick. And every time somebody uses it, I just want to turn the other way. They have no clue what it really even means. This is a new word, just like a globe. We don't live on a globe. GLO is another word for light or illuminate. I'll do this one more time for the people that are maybe new here. GLO, glow, glow bell, GLO/bell. GLO is another word for light or illuminate. Baal is another name for the devil in the Holy Scriptures. He carries around a hexagram, aka a six-pointed star. Therefore, we have the light or illumination of the devil right before your eyes. That's what this is about, man. They don't understand. It's the light of the devil. A few, but only a few, know there is a light far greater, with far more power. However, this light has been flat out denied. The light of Jesus Christ that can put out the darkness, baby. They don't want that. So the folks can afford $5 gas, $6 gas, $7 gas, but we're told, hey, you can afford a $70,000 electric car. You can afford a $20,000 battery, but hey, you can't charge it up. You can't charge it up. No, you can't charge it up because the grid won't hold it. I'll show you in just a minute. So have you really thought about this demonic agenda to preserve the earth? To preserve the earth. So here you have the most evil people that have ever lived, condemned by God forever. 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 14 through 16 says God is against them forever. They cannot please God. They're contrary to all men. They killed Jesus Christ, killed the prophets, and the wrath of God is against them forever. Pardon me. Now these are the people who say, we want to preserve the earth. Really? In the book of Revelation it says they will destroy the earth, just like their father. The devil is called the what? The destroyer. So they are trying to implement solar, as in Helios, as in the energy from the sun, because it's a way to destroy you and worship their God, who I told you is called Apollyon, the sun god, not the son of God. You see the wordplay there. Look at the screen. This is from California on September the 1st. They are telling people California will no longer allow gas vehicles, and telling people because of the weak energy grid, oh, by the way, you cannot charge your EV, your electric vehicles. What are they telling you then? They're telling you, we want you to be a hostage. We want you to be a slave. We don't want you to do anything. Sit and don't do anything until we tell you. You are seeing the government. You are seeing the evil of this world. The people who are slowly starting to go along reject the most important source of wealth and security it's ever had, and replace it with something that will bankrupt the nations and cause suffering for hundreds of millions, or even billions of people. This is exactly what they're trying to do by telling us that we need to go away from fuel and start with clean energy, solar, Helios, and all this nonsense. This is why we have a non-stop propaganda campaign from the government by circus clowns and trained monkeys. Mainstream media, universities, actors, athletes, musicians, and activists from all walks of life are pushing the green agenda. They don't want us to go forward. It's a means to destroy you. You see, they destroy the earth and then tell you, look, we have to clean it up. Then why don't you quit destroying it? Because they're not capable. It's who they are. It's as old as time. It's, as I told you earlier, it's the arsonist coming to you in the morning after he's burned down your house and saying, look, I've got some water for you. Most of us desire a better environment and less pollution. We love God's earth. We find it beautiful. We love the animals and we don't want to see any harm come to them. However, this is not their agenda, because they don't care about the earth, the animals, or us. They care about themselves and doing evil and serving their God, who I just told you about. They are telling us to replace our ways and resources that have sustained us for something that will kill us. Yet this is exactly what they have done with our morals, values, and heritage. They have told you to deny God, deny Jesus Christ, deny His Word, and replace it with what they tell you. One will save you, one will kill you. You starting to figure it out yet? Good. The masses reject everything that God told us, and they accept the ways of this evil world. For this price, and there will be a price, there will be pain. And yet, in the end, the agenda is not anything but what it's always been. They are serving their master, the serpent, aka the Son God, not the Son of God. You know, Jesus was having that conversation with the devil, and I did a video about it not too long ago in Matthew chapter 4. And the devil tried to get Jesus to bow to him. And he said, if you bow to me, I'll give you all these kingdoms. I'll give you all these things. Well, nothing's changed. They want the people now to bow to the devil. How did Jesus refute the devil? He told him to get behind me, boy. Get behind me. And then he said, it's written, the word of God. See, this is why we have an all-out war on the 1611 King James Bible. This is why we have a war on the word of God, that it's fake, it's corrupt, it's been tainted. It needs to be retranslated. That's BS, man. They want you to seek permission to go to the bathroom. And even, frankly, how much water you can use to flush. That's the truth of it. Your entire life is either manifesting your love for your Father in Jesus Christ or the devil in this world. Can't be both ways. If you have even the slightest love for this world, you are the enemy of God. Read with me. James 4:4 says this, ye adulterers and ye adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Now, enmity means hatred. Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God. Now let's read this and put it in its context, shall we? Why does it call the people adulterers and adulteresses? Because they are whores to this world. They are cheating on the Father for this depraved world. The verse continues that being a friend to the world is to hate God, to have hate with God. Now, if God hates you, and if you have hate with God and God has hate with you, your ass is done. It finishes by saying this deeply powerful fact. If you are a friend of this world, you are the enemy of God. Now let me ask you folks, if you're the enemy of God, right, how are you going to get through these last days? You're not. You're not going to get through them. If you're the enemy of God, how can you reason, understand, survive? You can't. Without the Father and His precious gift that He gave you, a part of Himself called Jesus, you cannot win, period. You will lose every time. Oh, you may win a couple battles, because in God's mercy, He even lets the lowest of the low have some victories. It's the way it is. God says, I will make it rain on whom I choose. Doesn't matter. God does things His way. But let me say it again. Without God the Father, and He pointed the way to Jesus, you cannot win. You will fail. Take it any way you like, but make sure you take it with you. The system tells the people to love this world. The same system has taught and told the people to deny God the Father, deny Jesus Christ, but love and accept this world. We're nearing the end, and only the people can see the end, because some folks understand the beginning and the end because they've been called to it. The people that were never called from the beginning don't understand the end. They cannot understand because they have no concept of beginning or end, because they don't know who created it all. They love this world, and they want the old life to come back. In fact, they talk about it all the time. I just want it to come back. That's what they say. Well, guess what? It's not coming back. And real shock, pain, and nightmares are coming for those who hate God. Moreover, everybody knows someone or has watched a video that has the answers. And it's always literally seducing spirits, hearsay, lies, fables, stories, fairy tales, and fantasies from liars and cons. If any answer that you hear does not put God the Father and Jesus Christ first, you are listening to and acknowledging lies that will harm you. These agents of darkness and masters of spin are creative, but so is every liar. Some are just better at it than others. People cannot grasp reality. It scares the hell out of them. It's amazing to me that people spend the majority of their lives since the inception of the internet searching for the truth, yet when the truth is given to them, they flat out reject it. You have two choices, my friends. Two. You can embrace the truth from God your Father and make the changes and preparations, or you can sit on your backsides and let those who hate you tell you how to repair. We have more power than we know and understand if we ask for it, believe, and then use it. Underline, use it. See, you can believe and ask, and God will say, I got you. Well, then you may have to get up. Okay, let's do what God moves us to do. Let's not sit and think about it. Let's get up and let's act on it. And above all, we must trust the one who has the power. Your Almighty Father does not answer to the devil. The devil answers to him. The Federal Reserve, banking cartels, corporations, whoever these monsters are, they answer to God. The Holy Word says in Matthew 28:18, Jesus said, all power has been given unto me. Who gave Jesus all this power? The Father did. So let me say it again. Who has all the power? Jesus does. As I stated in the beginning of this teaching, accepting death is easier for some than others. Some people are crazy and have a death wish, and these people should be avoided. Children of God should not fear death because we know what happens at death, and we are loved. God did not put you in this world to abandon you when it got its hardest. You've never been abandoned. You're here for a reason. You've been brought to this point because you are loved. So we have to accept death, either by sword or by walking out to the wilderness or in your home and letting God simply put you to bed. Because that's what death is. You're simply going to sleep. You will be raised and you will live on. It's a fact. Some closing words as we end this teaching today about preparations. Now, I do not do prep videos. However, if God moves me, we may do some in-depth videos about this subject in the near future. How do we prepare? Sometimes, as I've told you, I do more than pray. However, it starts with prayer. Your prayers are conversations with your Father. It starts with prayer. Your prayers move your Father to open doors for you, and there is nothing that no one can do to stop it. If you need food, water, and shelter, God can give you all this. Easy. You must also separate yourselves from those that you cannot trust. You see, we are starting to live in a communistic, socialistic, atheistic monstrosity of a society. You're not going to be able to trust anybody but other like-minded people. And these like-minded people are going to be so few and far in between, you'll be better served to keep your mouth shut. Jesus Christ told us in Matthew 7:6, do not cast our pearls before pigs, swine. We are told not to give that which is holy unto dogs. Why? Because these people are godless. They're not called to what we're called to. What does it do? What does it do for us to have conversation with these people that are the antithesis of who we are and our God is? Now, you and your Father should come up with a plan if you feel blessed to flee or desire to flee. This is something that you will have to start with prayer. Now, if you have any addictions, you should conquer them now while you can, because there's going to become a time you're not going to get your opioid medicine from China. Now, I know it's hard, but if you will start and if you will pray, your 6 pills a day can go to 5.5. 5.5 can go to 5. 5 can go to 4.5. And damn it, if you'll keep swinging the axe with God giving you the ability to do it, you can conquer that addiction. But you must want it, and you must be willing to put in the work, and you must be willing to do a little bit of suffering, because I know from first-hand experience, coming off of dope is hard. But I'm telling you, it can be done. If you're smoking cigarettes, put them down, man. You should be exercising as much as possible. Walk 10, 12, 15 minutes a day. If you can. I know everybody's different. Man, if you can do it, do it. If you can walk 20, 30, 40, 45 an hour, do it. Take care of yourselves, because you may have to walk. You may have to walk 2, 3 days. You may have to do more than what you think. And ask for help to do it all, for every step. And give God the glory for every step, and God will give you more. Practice missing a meal here and there. You'll be okay. None of us are going to starve. We need water. But we can go without food, man, longer than what we think. Prepare for what's coming, because our Father wants us to prepare. You prepare as God moves you to prepare. However, remember, it comes down to this. Will your house withstand the hail that's coming, or will it crumble? It's an easy question. Sadly, most cannot even comprehend the question, let alone have the answer. In closing, let me leave you with this, and I hope and pray that you remember it and live it. perch of truth. Read with me as we close. These are the words of your Father that gave you Jesus. So Jesus is speaking these words that he got from where? From his Father. About who's going to endure these days. And it comes down to a house. One short little passage that, in my opinion, says it all. Read with me here. Matthew chapter 7, verses 20 through 27. And we read, verse 20, the words of Jesus. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. By their fruits you shall know them. 21. Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. You see, who enters the kingdom of heaven? Those that do the will of the Father. What did the Father say to do? To follow Jesus. 22. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have we not cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works? Sounds like some church people. And then will I profess unto them, Jesus said, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. 24. Whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. 25. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. Now let's read 24 and 25 again. Whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, Jesus says, I will liken him unto a wise man. He built his house upon a rock. The rain come, the floods come, the storm come, and it beat upon the house, but it fell not, for it was built on the rock. Who's the rock? The Father. And the Father gave you Jesus Christ. That's the rock, baby. You build your house on that, your house don't fall. But let's look at the people that built their house on something else, this world, because they love this world. 26. And every one that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. Individuals and nations are going to fall, crumble, because they were built upon the sand, the lies and evil of this world. You as a person have spent your entire life going through trials and tribulations. We've all gone through hell at one time in our lives, and sometimes we've gone through so much that we felt like we couldn't take any more. I know I certainly have. We've all had our faith tested, maybe more than once. And doing this, God was slowly working you and molding you into the son or daughter that he wants you to be. He was also making you do what's going to save you. You have been slowly building a house of faith for years. In the past few years, your building this house has intensified. You've been putting up walls. You've been laying the foundation. You've been putting in windows. You've been putting on the roof, spiritually speaking. Because God has been moving you to do it. You're getting stronger. Meaning your house is getting stronger. You're readying yourself for it because your house is strong. You will dwell in this house of the rock as these last days come upon this earth. And your house will not fall. It will not crumble. Others do not live in these houses because they love this world, and they built their houses on the sand of this world and not the rock of God Almighty. Go forward, my brothers and sisters, and be brave in your mighty rock. Prepare as he gives you. Pray and be faithful to your Father. And your Almighty Father says that he gave us the image of himself and the most beautiful being that we will ever know, and his name is Jesus Christ. And it's all that we will need, because Jesus Christ is our rock, and it is in his name that we go forward. So be it.